If I Should Die by Donevy Westphal. Available through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other retailers. Julius solemnly nodded his understanding, but his mind wanted to read the article about shields and any other article relating to it. He dare not read it until he was alone, but turning it off and focusing elsewhere was difficult. At some point, I'll probably need to trust Michael with some information. Julius looked at Michael. You going to be at the store all afternoon? Until 5. I have some errands to finish here in town after lunch, but I'll stop in before going home, Julius said as the hostess approached. Michael turned to the hostess. We're part of the McDonald reservation. And he turned back to Julius. I'll be there. Julius waited in a secluded spot on the hill above a shelter house at the park. He glanced at his watch. Late. His contact was late. The newspaper lay within reaching distance, not now. He pushed the temptation away as the police cruisers glided in through the park. He glanced at his watch again, late by a few minutes. Could be excused, but 10 minutes was beyond his limit. He put the car in motion and headed toward the store. 2 streets from the park, he glanced in his rearview mirror. Every turn he made, a young blonde woman in a white Ford followed him. Not here. Not now. This is supposed to be an easy case. Okay, why would this one be any easier than any other? He whipped it into the car wash. The front door began to open as a car exited from the rear. He followed under the front door with barely enough room and scooted out the back door as the front door closed, leaving the white Ford on the other side. He would be long gone before they realized what happened. He pulled into the alley at an auto repair shop and parked among several vehicles, and slipped across the alley and into the back door at Juan's store. Listen, Mr. Gonzalez won't be back for another 3 weeks. If you need to speak to him, it'll have to wait. Michael's voice was impatient. Julius's ears perked up, and he finagled around for a better view of the situation. 2 men. I could take care of them, but I can't blow my cover, unless it's an absolute necessity. He strained to hear. No, sir. I'm not authorized to pay you anything, and I will not, Michael said. We can make it very uncomfortable for you, the big guy said in a smooth voice. Let me make myself very clear. This is not my store. I am not authorized to pay you, or anyone else, any amount of money, and I'm not going to pay you. If you don't get out of the store now, I will call the police. Do I make myself clear? Michael had sat on the edge of the desk, but now he stood his full height, towering above both of the men. Accidents happen, you know. You have a nice store here, a nice car, a pretty face. We could change that for you. The big man did all the talking in an intimidating voice. You have a really big mouth, and I could take care of that for you, Michael said. Marty, the other guy spoke at last. We'll come back like you suggested. Okay, Harry. With a long look at Michael, he finished the conversation. Pass on the message to your boss, little man. They turned and walked out the front door. Julius slipped to the window in time to write down a plate number, then returned to where Michael stood, phone in hand, dialing. Just a minute, Julius said, and disconnected the call. Michael turned, his blue eyes blazing, and pulled back his fist. Don't tell me. Julius threw up his hand, said just a minute. He punched some numbers into his own ARPA phone and spoke into it. Plate number 459OJS, tan Chevy Impala, he said. Just pulled out from Imports Magnifica, heading south. 2 men, both in sports coats and fedoras, hats. Pick them up. I need a fingerprint expert here at the import store now. Use the back door. Out. He turned to Michael. Go lock that front door and change the sign. No one uses it until we fingerprint it. And don't you touch anything those 2 men have touched. You'll have to pretend you didn't see any of this, Michael. Sorry, I almost punched you. Michael looked stunned and relieved. The temper isn't a good thing. It makes a person too apt to do something foolish. Now, you might begin by telling me anything you know. They had moved to the darkened office by the back door and were watching as several officers went about gathering info into the front store. These fellows aren't local. They showed up maybe 2 months ago and started harassing Juan, Michael said. This doesn't seem to be connected to Meacham's business. You need to be careful. These folks make David and Phil Meacham look like nice guys. I catch a flight out tomorrow morning. I'll be back Friday afternoon. Don't take any chances. Here's my number. Can you memorize it? Michael looked at the number and laughed. Yeah, I can do that. That's funny. My boss has a sense of humor. Julius hesitated at the back door. I'm on my way back to the house. If you need me, you've got my number. Got it. 007. Michael snorted as the alley door shut behind Julius.